AskReddit by statistician every 733. What is something rich people say that is bullshit? I actually work for a few wealthy people and the amount of times I've heard I'm poor or I have no money is absurd. I've actually said something nicely a few times because they both have talked in front of the other staff like that and it's just ridiculous. Edit. They are multimillionaires. I do some bookkeeping for them. Aside from the very large homes, multiple cars, boats and extravagant vacations, they have loads of money in their banks accounts, savings and checking, not to mention stocks and retirement. I wanted to clarify that not all of their money is tied up in stocks only. If you are saying I'm poor in front of your personal staff, then you are batshit crazy. Money doesn't solve everything, although technically true. I can't think of a problem I have currently that wouldn't be solved by wealth, job stress, family stress, related to money, debt, exhaustion with the housing market, worry about retirement, lack of time during the day, health concerns, many of which are actually money concerns, feeling down about life due to lack of time to pursue my own interests, the list goes on. Maybe money doesn't solve everything, but financial security is a such crucial thing. We are in this together. Now, more than ever. Don't discuss wages. This the this. Discuss your salary wages, people. Closed books and tight lips benefit the company, which means they're a detriment to the individuals who comprise it. Discuss pay regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. Discuss pay with your supervisors and your staff. Discuss pay whether you're more credentialed and experienced or less so than your peers. Discuss pay whether you make more or less than others in your labor category. Normalize the FCK out of this. Please scene thank you. Kim Kardashian once said this. Get your ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days. She has literally never had a job. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Not if you have to cook, clean, shop, wash up, laundry, work 9-5, travel in traffic, budget groceries, etc. Rich friend I had couldn't understand how it could take me hours to plan and grab groceries. I have to check for coupons, ongoing sales, etc and amp, plan meals accordingly, then take the metro to the nearest grocery store and amp, back. Meanwhile, he just ordered his groceries online and had them delivered to his doorstep. Same 24 hours a day indeed. Edit. I am not spending hours looking at coupons. The Mayo, please stop telling me to use my time more wisely. I don't live close to a grocery store. The transport and amp shopping itself is what takes more time. I did consider trying delivery when he insisted about it, but it's unfortunately way too expensive here. We're all in the same boat. Now get the fuck back to rowing. I need to get to Paris by next week. When it comes to starting a business, selling a product, or chasing your dream, all you need is passion, or some version of that. I've heard successful people give this advice because they don't know what else to say, but every rich guy I know has zero passion for the product they sell. Couldn't care less. They care about if it can make money, about holes and demands in the market, or about creating those demands. They have passion for making money. They say that to sell idiots on how to be successful books, podcasts, classes. It's just a banana machile. How much can it cost? $10? I don't understand the question and I won't respond to it. With all this opportunity, you'd have to choose to be poor. Choose your parents wisely. I worked my way up from the bottom when the bottom is freshly graduating with a fully paid for degree by mommy and daddy. Then starting a business with a $2 million loan. No one helped me. Right. You were born on third base, pal. You didn't hit a home run. Self-made. That $100 million head start wasn't that big of an advantage. Had a wealthy ex-girlfriend try to convince me that her parents giving her $5,000 minus $10,000 every month for fun money was the same as a parent buying their kid a Coke because all parents want to help their kids, they just have different amounts of help they can give. Talk about delusional. We didn't last long. Had a wealthy friend who was absolutely disgusted that her father wouldn't buy her an apartment and a brand new car. Only an apartment and a used car. She also got $1,000 fun money each month, which, she was on the highest meal plan, and had an apartment so she spent it on nerd stuff. Deleted. Did anyone ever want to work? Just work hard and you can get to where I am someday. Just save money, don't buy expensive coffee, and just 1 or 2 short millennia and you could buy your dream house. It's not that expensive. Money can't buy happiness. But poverty can't buy fucking anything. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. I've had jobs I've loved, sometimes they were still shit jobs. It's okay to pay the staff late, don't they have savings? Actual rich person talking about paying the household staff. Edit, I was managing the staff, and handing out paychecks. The workers were personal care attendants. It was real hard for me emotionally, but harder for people with no savings. I didn't have enough money to cover their pay. I worked for a guy who only flew in his private jet. He moved staff payday to the 3rd and 16th to save himself a few bucks. Staff literally evicted after 3 months for failure to pay late fees on rent. Just work hard and you can. Help me afford a newer Porsche next year. Pretty much anything they say to dissuade you from unionizing. I've literally heard someone higher up say that unions were for lazy and ineffective people. I love the trust fund babies that say I'm self-made because they started a business using daddy's $20 bill. Even those who start with nothing typically got a hidden edge somewhere. Take one of history's best examples, Mr. Rockefeller. Yes, he lacked the cash in the family, also lacked the kind of marriage or parents to bring him into high society. So how did he start his empire? In school he was sitting next to the son of a banking house, a man who could borrow some money with few questions asked and later on could loan out huge sums for securities that only existed on paper. More than one territory just waiting to have its oil fields exploited that was valued very high despite of being in reality near worthless wetlands where no one ever drilled for oil. A very, very profitable friendship that peaked when Standard Oil was officially forced to be split up and a presumably barely fluent Mr. Rockefeller combined with a certain friend brought up all the fillet pieces, leaving the unprofitable rest for the competition. They literally think it's iced coffee making us poor, and I'm like, okay, I splurge on Starbucks a few times a month but every other day I'm drinking nasty ass great value coffee, so IDK maybe it's the optimum bill going up every year and the expensive insurance that doesn't cover anything and the $75 copay. Maybe it's the rent increase every year or the car payments and the fact that I haven't had a pay increase in literal years. I think it was a congressman who said it was buying new iPhones that kept young people from buying a house. $800 phone equals down payment on a house. If I was able to pull myself up by my own bootstraps, anybody can do it. It is cruel just to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. MLK Jr. It trickles down. Deleted. More money, more problems. Might be true in the absolute literal sense in terms of number of problems, but in the grand scheme of things the scale of those problems is drastically lower. I would rather deal with 100. I can't keep track of all the things I bought. My friends keep wanting more money. My fancy Italian car keeps breaking down because Italians don't know how to make cars properly. Oh no, the contractors on my second house dipped on me every single day for the rest of my life. If it meant I never had to think, okay, if I skimp on groceries and just don't have lunch for the next week, I'll be able to make rent in full on the first again. even once. Lol plus, just because you have more money, doesn't mean you have to buy so many things. Just stack that cash. Poor people must be lazy. If you start with nothing or close to nothing, it is difficult to work your way up, no matter how hard you work. Many poor people are lacking access to good education and connections that would help them get ahead. Never mind the companies that exploit people and don't let people on the bottom of the totem pole get ahead. Many people are stuck working dead-end jobs. The playing field isn't level from the beginning. I knew a girl who grew up rich and genuinely believed this. She treated waiters like shit because she thought they weren't trying hard enough to not be waiters and deserved to be treated poorly. Oh man, I hated that bitch. You'd have more money if you didn't spend it on coffee and avocado toast. I only got a small loan of $1 million from my father. Poor people are just lazy. If they really wanted to not be poor anymore, they'd just insert solution here that involves money or time the poor person doesn't have, because they are poor. Eater, gotta love the people in the comments to this proving my point for me. I just took a retail job because the white collar market is awful, and I have to say that I've never worked so hard in my life. No one in the moneyed world is willing to comprehend just how awful being on your feet for 8 hours a day lifting boxes is. We aren't rich. We are comfortable. I'd rather go back to when I was broke and happy. I love hearing that bull. Yeah, go back to when you and 3 siblings were living in your 1-bedroom apartment. That's why I like Floyd Mayweather. He admits money has changed him and that he's in it for the money because that's what allows him his lifestyle. You can't fix problems by throwing money at them. You can when the problem is they don't have enough money. Specifically thinking about public schools for this one. As if hiring someone to fix it or get a replacement wasn't throwing money at issues. There are very few issues that money cannot massively help to fix. Any form of socialism is communism. Even better, just basic human decency is socialism. I don't like living in the richest society on earth and a huge group of selfish dicks think providing children free meals at school is bad or not worth spending money on. Quit your Netflix, Spotify, insert any subscription here and you will save enough for a mortgage in 3 months. Edit. 3 months with sarcasm, but most well-off people overestimate the value of 1 or 2 subscriptions and think that's what's breaking the bank every month. And yes, overindulgence of unused, barely used subscriptions can be a problem, but that is a separate conversation. This comment was meant to be akin to the people who say stop eating avocado toast and you'll be Mr. Moneybags, which another commenter understood and replied with the same example in one of the replies to this comment. S equals sarcasm. Mobile format. Or stop with the lattes and avocado toast for a year. Voila, a new home. So easy. My thoughts and prayers are with. We are all in this together when tragedy strikes. When they live in $3 million house and drive a 100k car but start telling how hard things are, makes me want to vomit. I also started out like you and washed headlights for people in cool cars. Trickle down economics works. The self-serving bias, a psychological phenomenon where people attribute success to themselves and failure to circumstances. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. Like technically sure, however somebody who has to take public transportation everywhere does not have the same 24 hours as somebody who has a car and driver or private jet. We live in a meritocracy. Get a side hustle. Like why? Why do I need a side hustle? It's either going to be worse pay or it's going to be better, in which case why am I not doing it just as my job? They are self-made. No one is self-made. or accomplished anything without a stable and prosperous social infrastructure. It's delusional to believe otherwise. Another is I worked hard for what I have. Implies people doing without don't work hard. They work just as hard if not harder, for far less. So many rich people think they are self-made. I grew up in Section 8 and on food stamps for most of my childhood. Now my wife and I are in the top 3% of income earners. So many people in my line of work compliment me on being self-made or not relying on help from others. They get all huffy when I point out how much help I had and even more annoyed when I thank them for supporting programs like eating assistance and low-income scholarships so people like me can get the help we need to succeed. The look of disgust on a trust fund tech bro's face when you not only refute that you're self-made, but thank them for paying into the programs that dragged you out of poverty is glorious. Money isn't everything. Money would solve every single problem I have. Success comes to those who work hardest. This is the hardest thing we've ever had to do. Cue layoffs of thousands while writing themselves a bonus. Anyone can do it. Not everyone can do it without familial connections. Wealthy people gotta keep opportunities and reserve them for other wealthy people. You just have to work hard and you'll be successful.